Town Council meeting for March 18th at 7:07 PM. All council members are present. Now, I understand that we have Troop 469 here to do the most important part of the meeting, which is the color ceremony. You guys want to, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Color guard attention, audience attention, will the audience please rise?
Oops.
Got salute, or hand over your heart. Color guard forward march. Color guard hold. Will the audience join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the color guard post the colors? Two. Color guard reform rank. Forward march. Color guard hold. Thank you.
Excellent. Give them a big round of applause now. Fellas, don't go too far because I'm going to call you back up here in just a sec. So, Troop 469, fantastic job. I've got certificates for you guys for tonight, so when I call your name, go ahead and come on down. And I'm just going to warn you, I'm awful with name spelling, so if I butcher the name, please don't be too upset with me. It's Josh Rivera. Aiden Barnett. Come on down. You can run either way. Just watch your step when you're coming down, aren't you?
It just bites.
Fantastic. There you go. All right. Max Wortman. Go, Max. All right. Charles Wortman. Oh, Charles is here. All right. I was going to say, I assumed that one wasn't the both weren't. Good job, Charles. James Smith. Come on down.
Is that Ponderosa in the costumes lot?
Oh, in the costumes loft. Oh, come on. That's okay. There you go.
Pugsley has to look good.
That was a little Addams Family plug. If you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
haven't bought your ticket yet, buy your tickets out. Justin Pritchotko. No? Okay, good, because I butchered that name pretty badly. Ryan Pritchotko. I thought I was away with it. Tell me your last name. Prohodko. All right, good job. Let me take your hand. Fantastic. Jake Terrell. All right, Jake, let's see a big smile. There it is. All right, good job. Congratulations. There you go. Gabe Levy. Same thing, Gabe. I need to see a smile. There it is. Congratulations. You're welcome. Cam Levy. You know, your brother smiled about right there. You're fighting it, but smile. There it is. Congratulations. And last but not least, Max Valenta. Come on now, he's smiling from the far back. Look, he's got the strut. Way to go. Congratulations, guys.
Where is 469 from? Where do you guys come out of? Parker, just, okay, excellent, good job.
All right. Next item up on our agenda is we've got a special presentation from the Parker Senior Center. Mr. Forrester, you want to come on down?
We are on, okay.
You're not used to being on that side of the,
I am not. I'm a stranger over here.
see? Rich is on a member of the Parker Planning Commission.
So, yeah, my name is Rich Forrester. I live at 22846 Hale Avenue, Parker, Colorado, 80138. So good evening, Mayor, Town Council, and fellow citizens. I am here as a resident of Parker and a member of the Board of Directors of the Parker Senior Center. I wanted to come and give you an update regarding the Parker Senior Center, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. It's been a while since someone from the Senior Center has presented you with an update, so I thought it was time that somebody did. I'm also here to ask the Parker residents and businesses to help. First, I wanted to start out with a brief history of the Senior Center. The Senior Center was built in September 1985. From what I hear from longtime members, it was built by citizens of Parker coming together much like an old barn raising. The property was deeded to the Parker Senior Center, Inc. around 1992 by the Douglas County Council on Aging with two restrictions. One, the property be strictly used for senior citizen use only. Second, that no debt can be encumbered on the property without the approval of the Douglas County Council on Aging. Later in the 1990s, the stewardship of these two restrictions transferred to the Douglas County Commissioners. In 2018, the stewardship was transferred to the town of Parker. So in 2000, a commercial kitchen was added to the building to provide seniors with a fresh cooked hot lunch meal Monday through Fridays. We are not governed or staffed by the town of Parker. In fact, we are one of the very few senior activity centers in the state of Colorado that are independent of the town that they are in. We do have 2 full-time staff members, a manager who runs the day-to-day operations, and a full-time chef. And we cannot operate the center without the help of many volunteers that staff the reception area, help in the kitchen, serve the meals, organize the day trips, and all those that lead the different activities. We receive our funds to operate the center from several different ways. One is some support from the town of Parker, annual membership fees, grants, which over the last few years have become less and less and harder to obtain. Donations from members and some non-member residents and organizations, and fundraisers. Our projected budget for 2019 is $249,000. The Parker Senior Activity Center has been providing programming and services to the area seniors for 34 years now. The senior citizen population is growing. Our programs are in high demand. We offer a wide variety of activities emphasizing social, mental, and physical wellness. We exceeded the 800 member mark in 2018 for the first time ever. And as you know, Douglas County has one of the highest populations of seniors in the county, or in the country. So just to give you an idea about our membership growth, at the end of 2015, we had 570 members. At the end of 2018, just 3 short years, we had 831 members. So that's a 46% increase in membership in 3 years. And meals, on a daily basis, we serve on an average of 35 seniors. Once a month, we celebrate birthdays, anniversaries for the month, and serve 80 to 100 seniors on that one day every month. So during the year of 2015, we served approximately 8,250 meals. And during the year of 2018, we served approximately 9,950 meals, which is an increase of about 21%. And here's where I come to you with the need that the Senior Center is in need of. And I'm looking towards citizens and businesses to help out. So to keep up with the times and provide another social activity for our members, like so many other senior centers have, in 2016 we purchased a used 15-passenger bus to use on day trips around the state of Colorado. This has quickly become one of the most popular activities offered by the Senior Center. So we purchased the bus for $20,000. We obtained a transportation grant for $12,000 and traded in a small van for $8,000. The transportation grants are really no longer available to us. So we have to look for other means to get another bus. So in 2017, we scheduled 47 day trips with 140 different members and approximately 600 plus passengers going on those 47 trips. And remind you, it's a 14 passenger bus. So every time we went out, the bus was full. 2018, we scheduled 90 day trips with 330 different members, and that is 40% of the members taking advantage of these trips. So it was approximately 1,200 plus passengers going on the 90 trips. Since it is a 15-passenger bus, a driver and 14 passengers, there is a waiting list for many of the trips. So our bus is aging and is now 13 years old, and in the 3 years that we have had the bus, we have spent almost $10,000 in necessary repairs, such as regular tires, snow tires, brakes, a whole new air conditioning system, new radiator, various fluid changes, and periodic safety checks. And this does not include regular oil changes or gas. Currently, the bus is in need of some repairs that are not urgent, but will need to be done at some point in the near future. The estimated cost of these repairs is $3,500 plus. Due to the age of the bus, the cost of the needed repairs, ongoing maintenance, and a trade-in value of only $3,000, the board has determined it would be best to purchase a low-mileage used bus or a new bus. About 5 weeks ago, we started 2 campaigns to raise money for another bus, one with members and one with local businesses. And you have a packet in front of you detailing these campaigns. There are 2 charts, one for members, one for businesses. We are offering incentives to each to obtain donations toward the bus. It shows more incentives with each increasing dollar level of donation. As of today, this afternoon, we have raised just over $13,500 towards the bus. So I am asking the citizens and businesses of Parker for donations toward the purchase of another bus for the Parker Senior Center. So donations can be made by calling or mailing a donation to Parker Senior Center, Inc., 10675 Longs Way, Parker, 80138. Our phone number is 303-841-5370, and our website is parkerseniorcenter, all one together, .org. The center manager is Jan, or you can call me at that number and ask for me. Thank you for allowing me to do this presentation tonight, and are there any questions?
Council, do you have any questions for Rich? You want to write them down since you can't write it, if you write it down.
Debbie would like to know if people can bring their money by to the senior center. If so, what are the hours?
Yes, we're open 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. No holidays, like a lot of holidays are on Monday. But Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, bring the money in to Jan. Or they can even call in if they're going to do a credit card. We take credit cards. We have not set up a GoFund thing on Facebook because we feel like that we want all the money that comes in to go directly to the senior center for this bus. So, because I understand they take some of the funds out, so we want everything to go directly to the bus, 100%.
Talk to Omar.
There's a guy sitting behind you. You can talk to him. All right. Cool. Other questions, guys?
Rich, did you say, and I missed it, how much the new bus was going to cost?
Well, what we're looking at, we've checked into a few, and we saw one at the end of last year that had about 18,000 miles on it. It was a 2016 model, and it was going for about $47,000. But the new one that we'd like to get, because it would be under full warranty up to 5 years, is about $67,000.
Okay. Other questions? No? Rich, thank you very much.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
All right, next item on our agenda is our Parker Chamber of Commerce updates. Mr. Houston.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. With Rich's comments about the senior center, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. I remember when my dad passed away when I was 16, and all of Mom's friends said, "Hey, come join us at the senior center." And she was too young at the time, so she thought, and she was, in her mind. And but a few years later, she said, "This sounds pretty good." They get together every afternoon, have a nice meal, play cards, and long story short, she ended up, before she passed away, she ended up went from being the youngest member of the senior center to the oldest member of the senior center. So anyway, senior centers play a strong role, so I encourage everyone in the community to step up and help in any way they can. I know that our family certainly will. We've been a part of fundraisers in the past for the senior center back home, so good job, Rich. Boy Scouts, wow, what a hard group to follow. I had a flashback from last week when they mentioned that fall back in line in order to march back. I had a rare opportunity last week through a career and technical education program through the school district and through the U.S. Marines. I actually went to U.S. Marine boot camp in San Diego last week. So I know we're a little ways apart, but so you may not be able to tell visually from there, but I'm actually 30 pounds lighter and 6 inches taller.
So you saw it from afar.
Yes. Anyway, a great opportunity. And as I look at what our people in the armed forces do for us, and those young folks that step forward, it's a pretty cool opportunity for people, especially when you look at the students in Douglas County, that 30% of them, when they walk across that graduation stage, have no idea what they're going to do with their life. And I see what the Marines do. And we just had a small sprinkling of what boot camp was in a week, and to see how they really transform young men and women, it's pretty sensational. So to encourage people to consider that as a career. I know on the agenda later this evening, the council is going to be, or as a PAR board, you'll be discussing some growth in downtown Parker, and we'd just like to say on behalf of the business community that we're supportive of some dynamic, smart growth in the downtown area, and as we look at how we build out our downtown, we're supportive of what that looks like. A few things specific to the chamber. We'll be putting some things out on social media later this week with our wine walk date, so people can save the date. Our phone's already been ringing off the wall as far as what those dates are for 2019. Actually go before the Liquor Commission later this week. But have a number of great evenings planned May through October of this year. I put a couple handouts at your place setting. One is on our Jive event, which is our job internship and volunteer expo. And this will be the third year we've done this. It's coming up on Saturday, April 13th. As you hear me talk about often at this lectern, is what that challenge is in our community for workforce. This is an opportunity for us as a chamber to bring hundreds of school kids together in the area to learn about some summer opportunities for jobs in the Parker area. Based on what we've had in the past, we'll expect anywhere from 200 to 400 young adults at this, and several dozen businesses. So if you are a business looking for part-time or summer help, we'd encourage businesses to join us at that. And we have more information on our Facebook page about that at the Parker Chamber Facebook page. One other update, just a few more specifics since we were together last. Our date is set for our retail workshop, Retail in an Amazon World, and how do we really focus on that education and creating that experience for local businesses to keep those dollars here in Parker. So we're excited about that. That's coming up later this month, March 28th, and looking forward to having a large group of retailers together to look at how we can work together as a retail community to really encourage those local dollars to be spent here in the Parker area. And last but not least, look forward to an opportunity to spend some time with Mayor and Council next week at the study session, talking about the career and technical education facility that we're looking at bringing into Parker in partnership with Douglas County School District. But again, it goes back to our workforce efforts. And as you look at what those opportunities are for careers in the Parker area and the whole South Metro region, I think a career and technical education facility right here in Parker is going to be a huge opportunity for us to expand that. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dennis. Council, do you have any questions for Dennis?
Dennis, if possible, could I get a PDF of this?
Yep.
And print? I wouldn't mind hanging these in a few businesses on Main Street.
Yep, happy to. Very good. Thank you.
Other questions? No?
Very
Dennis,
good.
thank you
Thanks,
very
everyone.
much. Appreciate it. All right, next item up on our agenda is general public comment. If you're here for a specific item that is on the agenda, there will be public comment on that item at that time. This is just general public comment for items currently not on our agenda. So the way it works is you see above me, there's a clock. I got one on the back wall too. There's a 3-minute time limit. You'll come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please. And then the clock will start. And you've got 3 minutes for public comment. It's not a back and forth discussion. It's just an opportunity for you to give comment to council. When it hits 0, I will say thank you very much and invite the next person up so that we can keep things moving. And again, if you're here for a specific item that is on the agenda, there will be public comment on those items. This is just for general public comment. So I'll open that up at 7:28 p.m. if there's anyone wishing to address council. And that scout in the back corner who lifted his hat, like if this was an auction, you would have just bid like $200, right? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close general public comment at 7:28 p.m. and I will move on to reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. Mr. Rivero.
Obviously, with the snow, pretty slow week.
Snowpocalypse?
Snowpocalypse. Pretty slow week for us. Kudos to our plow guys, CDOT's plow guys. I don't know if I've ever seen 83 close north of Franktown before. That was pretty impressive, but I think our guys did a great job getting into the neighborhoods as quickly as they did. I know the snow rows, or the wind rows with the wet snow created quite some landmines, but at least they were in, and EMS and fire could get in there if they needed to, so kudos to everybody involved. And PD, thank you for being out there on such a tough time. I'm sorry that there's a video that fire's going to rub in your face for a long time, but appreciate you guys being out there.
No comment. Anything else? Cheryl.
Yeah, I too would like to thank, Public Works and the Police Department for their efforts over the storm. I know it's always a hassle and they have to pull extra hours, so thank you. And at the same time, I wanted to make just a quick comment on the last CML conference because I didn't get to do it in this session. And we attended a CML conference in February, and one of the things that really struck me was the number of communities that have taken some sort of action on local public transportation, which we don't have. I don't know if we're ready for that, but it was interesting to see the number of solutions other communities have looked into. So at some point, we'll be having to look at that.
Okay. Jeff.
So just a couple of things. Again, echoing thanks to the PD. Thanks for all your help at Public Works. It was a monster storm, but there was one victim of the storm, and that was Coffee with a Cop. So just a reminder, that's this Wednesday instead of last Wednesday. So don't forget, it's at Starbucks over by Walmart on 20 Mile. So
And don't speed if you're going to it, because that's not an excuse if you get pulled over.
So Councilman Rivero and I have spent the last couple of weeks in meetings together. We had economic development liaison with Matt Carlson last week, and today we are in with communications. Both groups very, very active, very busy, and doing a fine job. A lot of good stuff coming out from both of theirs. And I also had the opportunity to attend a Meet the Missionaries event at the LDS Church on Chambers last week. It's all the missionaries around the Denver area put on a show. You get to know them and stuff. It was very, very cool. So they've got another one coming to the south. If you haven't had a chance to see it, it's a pretty good show.
Cool.
That's it.
Renee.
So it was a three-fer. We had a time change, we had St. Patty's Day, and we had snow. That was pretty much my week. Anyways, thank you once again, just to reiterate to everybody that assisted during all of the weather. We sure appreciate it.
Debbie, do you need John to do it, or you?
Thank you for all the snow removal from Public Works, and everyone. It was great. And whatever I have apparently is not catching because I have tried to give it away. And I can't.
All right.
John.
Thank you. Renee and I had a finance liaison meeting. I think we forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, a four-fer.
A four-fer. Yeah. This is the typical Dr. Cog resume here. We had a study session about mobility choice, the blueprints, if anybody has any interest.
Is having a hard time falling asleep, they could read the...
That's right, that's right. We also talked about some MetroVision amendments. That's Denver's regional plan. We had a DRCOG Executive Committee, Metro Mayor Caucus, County Commissioner meeting on how to get more transportation funding today. Looking forward, we have the Regional Transportation Committee, or RTC. I am vice chair of that now. And Wednesday, we'll have a board meeting. We will have a sub-regional meeting. I'm sure there's another meeting there for DRCOG, but I kind of want to recognize somebody in the audience who doesn't probably want to be recognized, Mr. John Cotton. He is the former director of Public Works in Lone Tree. He has been a great person to work with. Parker truly appreciates your service. I sure do at the DRCOG regional table. I couldn't have done the things I'm doing without you and your wisdom here. And if anybody has a question on when Ridgegate's going to get expanded, he's your guy.
Wow.
Thank you, John.
Excellent. Yeah, for me, the biggest was it took me 3 days to get over the time change, and then, with snowpocalypse and the bomb cyclone and all the keywords to it. Our public works, I don't think people sometimes understand how much effort and work it is for our public works department to be able to move the amounts of snow. I mean, there's this misconception that when you see the plow come down the road, that it takes all the snow that's sitting there on the road and somehow makes it disappear. And it doesn't. It has to be pushed somewhere and moved somewhere. So their job isn't getting rid of snow, it's moving it to places where you're not driving and not getting into. And it is an insane amount of work of planning to be able to do that on a normal level, let alone when we have that much snow drop that fast. Fortunately for us, we had a couple days of really nice warm weather afterwards that helped that melt off pretty quick, but it is an impressive thing to do. In the middle of the bomb cyclone, I did look out my window and see a taxi minivan that was high-centered in the snow in the middle of my street, and my first thought was, what kind of person, calls a taxi in the middle of the bomb cyclone? So my son and I run out to help dig out this guy who was stuck, and I felt about this big because nobody called him. He went out on his own because he had a friend down the street who needed to get to dialysis. Got her to dialysis, was coming back to home, and got high-centered in front of the street. So we got him dug out and got him home at least. And I have story after story of neighbors, your neighbors, citizens of Parker, who stepped up without hesitation to help people who were stuck, who were stranded, everything in between. So really, the silver lining of snowpocalypse is that it reaffirmed the fact that Parker's a pretty cool place and that our citizens do a great job of taking care of each other. So, John, did you?
I should clarify, John is retiring after how many years? 22, 24. Well, congratulations. Good luck to you. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item, which is consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine, will be enacted with one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion on consent agenda items unless council votes to remove an item for individual discussion. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for introduction only, first readings, and will not be removed for discussion. So council, I have consent agenda items 6A through 6D in front of you. At this point, I would entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion from Josh and a second from Renee. Council, in just a few seconds, that little magic box that we're going to have to come up with a name for it is going to pop up on your computer screen. This is me vamping, so everyone in the audience doesn't wonder why we're not doing anything. There's that little box for you, so go ahead and click your vote. And in just a second, by the magic of technology, you're going to see up above my head the results of that vote. Everyone waiting. Look at that, and the vote passes unanimously. Fantastic. We're going to move to the next item, which is item number 7, public hearings. The first thing we have up is, this is 7A. This is for ordinance number 1.523.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance to adopt the 2019 revised budget for the town of Parker and to make appropriations for the same. Rhonda, you're going to be the lead tonight since your boss is our interim town administrator tonight, since our town administrator and deputy town administrator are out of town.
Yes.
Rock and roll.
Good evening.
Oh, we've got to, hold on one quick sec. What happened, ladies?
Oh, we just don't have a monitor.
All right, just peek over onto John's for you, and you can peek over onto mine. So, go ahead.
Okay. This item is for a budget revision for the 2019 annual budget. Asking everyone now. And details of this revision are itemized in Exhibit A of the ordinance. So some background on budget adjustments and ordinances. We are, right now, this ordinance is for the carryover and supplemental budget for 2019. Carryovers are unspent funds from prior years for prior projects that are already planned or underway, and that funding just needs to move over to the current year. And then amendments are supplementals to the expenditures that were already approved in last year's budget, or this year's budget, they were approved last year. This budget, the total amount of carryovers is $16,614,879. And the supplemental expenditures are $6,494,745. Those supplemental expenditures are also offset. We are adding some new revenue that came in, or for to be able to spend that money, of $6,439,845. So that's really the budget, unless we need to go line by line or talk about anything on the exhibit that anyone has any questions on.
So before council gets to questions, just for the audience sake of clarification, a carryover is a project that spans a budget year.
Yes.
So when the money is approved and appropriated in one year, if it's not spent in that year, that's what a carryover is, moving that money into the next year so that it can be used and spent.
Yes, everything that is on the carryover was approved prior years.
Okay.
And it's on an existing project, like major roadways, some vehicles that were ordered at the end of the year that aren't going to arrive until this year, items like that. Everything is capital or a project that is not just an operating cost.
Okay. Council, any questions before we go to public comment? No? All right. Rhonda, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public comment at 7:39 p.m. If there's anyone here to address council on this item. Same rules as before with the timer and everything. Okay. Seeing no movement, we'll close public comment at 7:39 p.m. and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.523.1 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Renee. We have a second by Josh. I'm talking slower so that that box can come up and I won't rush y'all along because I talk too fast. Oh, there's the box. Now I can talk fast again. We do need like that bumper music though in between while you guys are voting to just, there it is. All right, motion passes unanimously. Next item up on our agenda, this is item 7B. This is resolution number 19-009. It was continued from March 4th, 2019. This is a resolution to approve the First Amendment to Consolidated Service Plan for Chambers High Point Metropolitan District Number 1 and Chambers High Point Metropolitan District Number 2. Kristen, you are going to lead us through the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Town Council approved the Consolidated Service Plan for both of these districts in October of 2016. The districts are now requesting a First Amendment to authorize development fees, the same that are permitted to be assessed and collected by the Belford districts under their amended and restated service plans. The proposed First Amendment generally conforms to the town's model service plan, and it authorized the Chamber High Point districts to assess and collect a development fee not to exceed $25,000 for each single-family detached residential unit, not to exceed $20,000 for each single-family attached or multifamily residential unit, and not to exceed $25,000 per single-family equivalent of water and or wastewater demand for uses other than single-family or multifamily residential structures. Town Council approved a related request by the Belford Metropolitan Districts in 2018 to amend and restate their service plans to grant them authority to assess and collect development fees in the same amounts as I've just outlined, and to collect development fees from property within the Chambers High Point districts. George Rowley from White Bear Inkley represents the districts. He is here tonight to present to council and answer any questions you have on the First Amendment.
Okay. Before we have George come up, council, do you have any questions for Kristen?
Not this time.
No? All right, George, if you'd like to come on down, just watch your step as you're coming on down. Omar's pretty fast in that front row, but I don't know if he'd be able to catch you if you took a digger. All right. If you go ahead and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is George Rowley, and my address is 2154 East Commons Avenue in Centennial, Colorado, 80112. And I'm here on behalf of the Board of Directors for Chambers High Point Metropolitan Districts 1 and 2. As Kristen has described, we're seeking a service plan amendment to impose a development fee in the amounts that she mentioned. Just by way of explanation, previously the service plan allowed a development fee of about $2,000. That fee was to be used for district debt, to pay for district bonds. We are no longer imposing that fee, but rather are imposing this fee of $25,000. And this fee will be used to pay, essentially it's a tap fee to get water and sewer service from Stonegate Metropolitan District. Are there any questions from council? I can go into more detail if you'd like, but.
Council, any questions for George? Cheryl.
Yeah, I do have a question, because this fee will impact the homeowners in the future, so what I'm wanting to know is what is going to be the mill levy that's going to be impacted by this? And I'm assuming you're selling bonds, correct?
Yes, the districts will be selling bonds. This fee will not be pledged to those bonds. This fee is, again, to get water and sanitation service from Stonegate. The mill levy will stay the same as it is right now, which is 50 mills for debt.
Okay, so you'll be collecting this at the time of sale?
No, this will be collected prior to a certificate of occupancy, so it'll be paid by the builder or developer.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Council, other questions? Josh or Ken?
No.
No? No. All right, George, thank you very much.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 7:44 PM if there's anyone here to address council on this item. Seeing nobody, we'll close public comment at 7:45 PM. And council, I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve resolution number 19-009.
Second.
We have a motion from Renee and a second from Josh. Council, in just a sec, that little box is going to come visit you. You're going to say, hey, box, let me click yes or no. And there's that little box. Motion passes with all yeses and one no from Cheryl Pogue.
Well, hold on. We're messing with somebody.
You're missing me.
Uh-oh. Did you click it?
Did you save it?
You have to X out of this, there you go.
Technology.
No, do the small X right there, so you can bring up the other screen.
Can you manually add Jeff's vote? Yes. Jeff, what would you vote?
Yes.
Jeff votes yes. So we have, that's 5 yeses and 1 no. Next item on our agenda is item 7C. This is Parker Point Minor Development Plat and Subdivision Agreement. Council, before I read all 4 items in, just so everyone knows, there's 4 separate items, but there's going to be one presentation to cover all 4 items. However, at the end of the presentation, there will need to be 4 separate motions, 4 separate votes, and I have written in really big letters, slow, so that we can make sure that the staff can get those turned on as they come through. So, item C is Parker Point Minor Development Plat and Subdivision Agreement. First is C1. This is the minor development plat for Parker Point. Item C2 is the subdivision agreement for Parker Point. Item C3 is Resolution 19-016. This is a resolution accepting the conveyance of a drainage easement from Riata South Metropolitan District and Parker and Stroh LLC for Tract A2A Riata South, filing number 1, Third Amendment. And this is, and then there's item C4, which is ordinance number 1.515 on second reading, which was continued from October 1st, 2018. This is a bill for an ordinance conveying certain real property by easement to Parker Water and Sanitation District for Tract B, Riata West filing number 1, second amendment. And with that, Paul, you're going to lead us through it?
I am, sir.
All right, rock and roll.
I appreciated your pace on that introduction. Thank you for that.
Just a nice, slow, methodical, put some people to sleep. That's what I was trying.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of Town Council. As the mayor just ran through, there are 4 items related to this request. 2 of those items are sister applications. One is a minor development plat, and the other is a subdivision improvement agreement. There is a resolution accepting a drainage easement and an associated ordinance conveying an off-site easement to Parker Water and Sanitation District. Subject property for the request this evening is located at the southeast corner of Parker Road and Stroh Road. To the north of the property is undeveloped commercial pad sites. To the northwest is developed commercial pad sites. To the west, across Parker Road, is a mix of developed and undeveloped commercial pad sites. To the south is the Kinney Creek, and to the east is the Colorado Golf Club. The subject property was voluntarily annexed by Town Council in August of 2018 and subsequently zoned with a modified commercial zoning designation. The site totals about 14 acres in size, and the applicant has submitted this minor development plat in order to create 15 lots for commercial development and 2 tracts that would be dedicated to the town. They're located on the south side of the subject property and are encumbered by the 100-year floodplain and the Preble's jumping mouse habitat. So the request this evening for a minor development plat is a type of subdivision application. In these applications, the request is reviewed for compliance to ensure things like lot sizes and layout meet town standards, as well as any shared improvements that may be required as part of the development. Those are all reviewed for compliance with town standards. The action for council this evening is based on the application's ability to comply with the 6 approval criteria identified in the land development ordinance. Those will be highlighted later in the presentation. Site-specific or individual lot development and associated improvements are not reviewed with the minor development plat. If a minor development plat is approved, those individual specific site development standards are reviewed with the future administrative site plan application. The town's master plan identifies this intersection as a community center. Community centers are intended to be larger commercial developments intended to serve multiple neighborhoods or even regional needs. Common uses that are found in these centers are retail and personal services, business-related services, offices, recreation, restaurants. The creation of commercial lots on the subject property is consistent with the town's master plan. When the subject property was annexed and zoned back in August of last year, the site was zoned for a modified commercial zoning designation. This is the zoning map of that application. The zoning on the property allows for general retail uses, general office uses, some restricted drive-through uses at the corner of the property, the corner of Stroh and Parker Road, which is indicated by the hatching on the left-hand side of the image here. The zone district does establish one lot standard for lots within this zoned area, and that is a minimum lot width of 75 feet. The smallest lot width that is proposed by the applicant is 96 feet, so it is in excess of the minimum requirement. The creation of the lots for commercial development is consistent with the modified commercial zoning that is on the property. And this image shows how the minor development plat would generally lay out. The 15 lots that are proposed for commercial development are indicated by the red lines there. While the size of the lots do vary, they are generally about an acre in size, roughly as an average. The area that would be dedicated to the town, the 2 tracts that would be dedicated to the town, are shown in the green lines on the bottom of the image there. The 2 blue circles show the right-in, right-out access that would be constructed with the development of the property. And then the yellow star in the corner shows an approximate location for an off-site full movement intersection to the east of the subject property. As part of the development of the site, and as detailed in the subdivision improvement agreement that was in your packet this evening, there are associated obligations for the developer to fulfill as part of the development of this site. A lot of them are related to improvements for transportation needs, access, things of that nature, as well as some open space and trail contributions. The 6 approval criteria that were alluded to earlier in the presentation, the application has been reviewed and determined to be consistent with the town master plan and the general land use plan. It does comply with the land development ordinance and all other standards of the town. It complies with the applicable zone district standards. The public notice requirements have been met. The applicant has provided the posting affidavits indicating that they have legally noticed this hearing. The subdivision agreement has been executed and all public dedications have been satisfied. During the referral process, all referral agencies responded with either no comment or advisory comments to the proposal. And then, again, the resolution number 19-016, would approve an easement agreement. It would codify the construction and maintenance responsibilities for an off-site drainage pond. That general pond location is shown by the blue circle in the image in the left-hand side of the screen. And really, the Parker Point property owner is responsible for the maintenance and operation of that pond, but the agreement provides the town the ability to get in and perform any maintenance work that may need to be done should the developer property owner not do so. And then ordinance number 1.515 would approve an easement to the Parker Water and Sanitation District, not the applicant, in order to construct a sanitary sewer line on town-owned property. In short, Parker Water and Sanitation District does not have services directly adjacent to the subject property. So in order to provide service, a connection needs to be made to the existing development on the west side of Parker Road. Disturbances related to the installation of this water line would be minimal, as the line is proposed to be underground and would be installed via boring as opposed to open trench digging. So with that, on February 28th of this year, the Planning Commission recommended that Town Council approve the request for a minor development plat for the Parker Point minor development plat at the southeast corner of Parker and Stroh Road. And staff is recommending that Town Council approve the request for a minor development plat, an associated subdivision improvement agreement, a resolution accepting a drainage easement, and an ordinance dedicating an easement to Parker Water and Sanitation for the Parker Point development at the southeast corner of Parker and Stroh Road. And that would conclude staff's presentation. However, staff is available for questions, and the applicant is available for questions should council have any questions for them as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. Council, do you have any questions for Paul on this? Okay, Josh first, then Cheryl.
Paul, my questions go to the access, the 2 right-ins, right-outs, then also the off-site full movement. The full movement will be built in the same time that the parcel is developed. So the full movement is in before anything go live on that property, correct?
Correct, correct. All 3 access points will be constructed with the initial development of the site.
And then on the north one, there will be hindrance there to stop people from shortcutting out?
I'm sorry, could you?
Will there be a curb or a hindrance to stop people from shortcutting out of that, making a left turn out of a right?
The right and right out on Stroh?
Yes.
Yeah, long term there may be a raised median in Stroh. For now, it'll be a pork chop island that directs traffic to the
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Cheryl.
A couple of questions. What is the minimum square footage size for the planned zoning?
The zoning does not identify a minimum lot square footage, but it does identify the minimum lot frontage, which the applicant has met.
Okay, because when I look at this, you've got 14.66 acres in the parcel. You're taking off a part of that on the southern end that's not going to be developed, and that leaves a range of space. And you said roughly an acre. From what I see in the plat or the plan here, there's some fairly small ones, for larger ones. So I was wondering what the average size would be for each lot of these 15 lots, because it's going to be well less than an acre per lot.
Correct. There is some variation in the size of the individual lots. Some are 0.8 acres, some are 1.2 acres. So they're right, all of them are right around that 1 acre size.
So the only constraining factors then will be the lot width and their distance from the front line, right?
That's correct. So the zoning only has the 1 lot standard, which is the lot width.
Okay. The other issue I see here is the maximum height removal with the change in zoning, and you're saying you're going lot by lot? Why is that?
So there's no change to the zoning, there's no change to the maximum height as part of the minor development plat.
Well, from what I saw on your chart, it wasn't going to be specified.
No, there's a maximum height requirement in the zoning. If memory serves, it's 35 feet.
The original was 35 feet. The proposed was not specified.
There's no proposed change in the height limits
Okay.
as part of this request.
That's all I have.
Other
Thank you.
questions? Okay. Other questions? No? All right, did the applicant have anything else to add?
No presentation at this time, but if council has questions for them, they certainly would be willing to answer them.
Okay. Let's go ahead and open up public comment then at 7:57 PM if there's anyone here wishing to address council on this item. Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:58 PM, and I would entertain further discussion. And again, council, remember, we have 4 items. That's 4 separate motions and 4 pauses between each motion so that we can get the computer running faster.
I move to approve, based on staff findings contained in the staff report, the minor development plat.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Josh, and that would be a second from Renee for the minor development plat. Let's go ahead and see when there's that little box. And we wait and see. Nope, I see movement, and I see motion passes unanimously. So there was that little bit of a delay. We're going to talk a little bit slower.
I move to approve the subdivision agreement.
Second.
We have a motion by Josh and a second by Renee. It sounds very Bob Ross-ish. In just a moment, item number 1 is going to disappear from the big screen. Item number 2, and there's your little boxes. Happy little boxes. And motion passes unanimously. So, next item up, which is item number 3 for resolution number 19-016.
I move to approve resolution number 19-016.
Second.
That's a motion by Mr. Josh Rivero and a second by Miss Renee Williams. I have to work on some accents so I can have more character in there. Please vote. My leprechaun. Motion passes unanimously. Jeff, which accent should I use on this one? No. All right, so the next one up is ordinance number 1.515. I will need a motion.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.515 on second reading.
Second.
We've got that motion again from Josh and that second coming from Renee. Just a few minutes, we're going to have that little box appear on your screen. There we go. And with the waiting, and everyone's waiting. There it is. Motion passes unanimously. Fantastic. We're going to move on to item number 8D. This is Compark Village filing number 4, amendment number 1, minor development plat. Stacy, you are going to rock and roll this one tonight, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and council member. I just turned myself off. All right. So the proposal tonight is a minor development plat to subdivide the property into 2 lots and 2 tracts. The property has been posted and all public notice requirements have been satisfied. So the property is located south of Compark Boulevard, north of E470, and west of Chambers Road. The property was annexed and zoned as part of the Compark Village Plan development in 2007. Compark Village in Cottonwood Highlands, which is an adjacent development, ended up trading several parcels of land without subdividing those parcels as required by the Parker Land Development Ordinance. So therefore, in 2001, several ordinances were approved to clean up the parcel trades. At the same time, the property was platted as part of an exemption plat to clean up those trades. The applicant has submitted this minor development plat to subdivide 4 unbuildable tracts into 2 buildable lots, a detention pond tract, and an unbuildable tract for future development. The proposed minor development plat will plat the property into lots and tracts only. This plat does not have any infrastructure or off-site improvements associated with it. Most of these improvements have already been completed. The buildable lots would allow for the development of commercial and industrial uses on the property per the Compark Village Plan development. Site plan applications have been submitted for vertical construction of office warehouse buildings on the site, which will be reviewed administratively. The purpose of the minor development plat process is to review lot sizes and layout for compliance with town standards. 2 of these requirements are consistency with the land development ordinance and the zoning for the property. The proposed subdivision of the property is consistent with the requirements outlined within the land development ordinance and the zoning on the property. The proposed lot sizes, lot widths, lot coverage, access, and circulation proposed meet the minimum requirements outlined. Additional requirements, including the building setbacks, building height, landscaping, and parking, will all be reviewed and determined at the time of the site plan. The general land use map within the Parker 2035 master plan identifies this property as being within the E470 employment character area. The property is represented by a red rectangle in the center of this map. This designation calls for a mix of uses including office, research and development, flex office, and light industrial. Based on this analysis, staff has determined that the request to subdivide the property to allow for the future development of office warehouse is consistent with the recommendations of the 2035 Parker Master Plan. Staff has reviewed the proposal and has determined that the project is consistent with the 2035 Master Plan, the Land Development Ordinance, and the Compark Village Plan development. Utility providers have confirmed capacity and availability. All referral agency comments have been addressed, and all public notice requirements have been satisfied. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on February 28, 2019, and recommended approval unanimously. With that, staff recommends that Town Council approve the Compark Village Filing Number 4, Amendment Number 1, Minor Development Plat. This concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have. And then we do have Dave Kleba and Derek Hahn here with Ekin Johnson, and they do have a presentation for you.
All right, before we have Dave and Derek come up, thank you very much, Stacy. Council, do you have any questions for Stacy?
Not at this time.
No, but I do want to comment and thank staff for coming in earlier today because I had some questions. There was no topo included with this, and looking at where the drainage was going, it didn't make a lot of sense. But with the topo and explanation, it made sense.
Okay. Questions, guys? None? All right. Dave and Derek. That's kind of like it sounds like a vaudeville act almost, you know.
We'll let Dave take it.
Yeah, Dave and Derek show?
I pulled the short straw, so.
Yeah, it's like what is my brother Larry and my other brother Larry? That kind of.
I don't know which is Larry. Actually, that's my middle name. David Lawrence Kleba, 5 Bluegrass Ridge Road, Littleton, 80127. Thanks for taking the time tonight, Mayor and council members. We are enthusiastic about this project. A little bit about Ekin Johnson, just so you understand. We are celebrating our 30th anniversary this year, and we have developed multiple projects within the Denver metro region on a broad variety of those asset class types. Primarily what we're known for is what we're developing here, what's proposed to be developed here, which is flex office. So that's just a quick snip about our firm. And then on the next slide here, we wanted to poll just to give you an idea of some of the comparable tenant base based on this type of office product. So we pulled some of the tenant base we have. Sierra Nevada, the Dream Chaser, Danone Wave, Molecular, these are all manufacturing companies. So it just gives you at least an idea of what type of tenant roster that could be potentially in this project. So you're talking about potentially a heavy economic hit, which is good, a heavy employment base, and a good tax base for both property and business. So we just wanted to present that for your information. And we look forward to working with you all throughout the project, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. And it was Dave, right? Or are you Derek?
Larry.
Larry.
Middle name's Larry. David Larry.
All right. Council, do you have any questions for Dave? Attaboy.
Yeah, just had to fire one back.
There you go. Josh, did you have your hand up, Josh?
No, I didn't.
Okay, Cheryl.
I do. The existing allotment of height is 60 feet, which is quite tall, and I don't think the surrounding buildings in that area are that height. What are you proposing, because that's not included in this?
Right, that's included in the site plan submittal, but the plan is for single 24-foot clear buildings, so roughly about 30, 33 feet, somewhere in that realm to the top of the parapet.
Okay, that makes me more comfortable, thank you.
Yes.
Jeff.
So I know some of these corporations you have listed on your presentation, but what is the average tenancy longevity? I mean, what would you plan for out there?
Good question.
5, 10, 15 years?
In a new development like this, you're probably looking at anywhere from a 7 to 12-year lease.
Okay. And then what's your projection for filling it?
Well,
That's harder to do, but.
That's hopefully quick.
That's kind of depend on your agent,
Yeah,
isn't it?
The answer is these are going to be built speculative. So you know, it's a if you build it, they'll come market, and that's consistent with any product type. But just out of comparison, we've got similar product up in Louisville, and the lease up rate there is maybe 6 months after the delivery of the corn shell.
Okay.
Because they've got to finish out their tenant improvements, we've got to negotiate the lease.
Okay. And so you guys participate in the TI as well?
As far as the funding of the TI, yes, that's a common model to some degree, yeah.
Okay, anything else, Jeff? Rest of council, questions? No? All right, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 8:08 PM if there's anyone here to address council on this item. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:08 PM, and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
Just want to say welcome to Parker. Appreciate you guys taking the time. I know most of your stuff's up north. Thanks for coming down south, and I look forward to partnering with you guys. With that, I move to approve based on staff findings contained in the staff report, the minor development plat.
Second?
We have a motion from Josh and a second from Renee. Council, you know what to do. You're going to wait for that little box. There you go. Click away. Let's see. Vote results are 0. There we go.
Do it again.
It's because of the bomb cyclone. It's covered in snow.
But I just voted on that.
Yeah, it went away.
You got to do it again.
Where's the tall guy?
Who are you waiting on? There we go. Motion passes unanimously. All right, next item up is item number 8, under agreements. This is a listing agreement for My Main Street. And Mr. Maloney and Mr. Rogers, that also sounds like a bad 70s group, are going to be up here to lead the presentation. You know, I used to think that Jim could dunk. And then you came along, and I'm like, I don't think he can dunk anymore.
I don't know if I can dunk anymore. Mayor and Town Council, the item that is before you tonight is associated with a larger effort that was actually spearheaded by P3 Parker Authority for Reinvestment, in partnership with the town. That would be the My Main Street project. In February of 2018, the My Main Street project was kicked off. The goal of that effort was to partner with the community and the development community to find what Parker would like to see on the town-owned properties that are associated with the listing agreement. Over a 9-month period, a strategic framework was adopted by Town Council. It set out a guide on how to inform development partners, inform staff on what the market realities, but also the feedback that culminated from the data that we received from the community. In October of 2018, staff approached the council at the tail end of that effort to discuss implementation measures, and were directed to move forward with issuing an RFP, a request for proposal, to seek out a commercial brokerage firm. Given the amount of time and effort that was put into the My Main Street project, the money invested in that project, as well as the efforts put into the property, setting it up for redevelopment and development, we wanted to make sure that we are able to seek out a firm that would have our best interest at heart, and making sure that we were positioning the properties in the market accurately enough to being able to meet the expectations that were set out in the My Main Street project. So between October and December of 2018, we released that RFP, and we received one successful respondent application, that being the one that's before you tonight with NavPoint, an internal committee that was conducted an internal review and then made a recommendation to enter into negotiations with said NavPoint. In that, I'll now turn it over to Jim to kind of speak through the contract and what those terms and conditions are.
Yeah, better lower that microphone a little bit.
How low can you go?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As a follow-up to what Jason indicated to you, we do have a broker listing agreement that's in your packet this evening. There were a lot of negotiations that were involved, and this concerns 4 properties. The agreement is between NavPoint Real Estate Group, Limited Liability Company, and obviously the town of Parker. It concerns 4 town properties. I'm going to just use the general names of those properties and give you the listing price. The first is what I would call the Schoolhouse Gym property. The listing price is $375,000. The next property is the East Main property. Listing price is $3,905,000. The Pine Curve property, listing price is $5,793,331. This last one is unique because we don't have a specific listing price, rather we have a range. And the reason we have a range is because the entire parcel will not be sold, because currently half of Pace Lot 2 is currently used for parking for the Pace Center. So we have a range of a listing price of $1,708,000 to $3,886,400. So essentially, I would say the listing price is 25 cents a square foot. Now, the variable here is the parking. And in the agreement itself, I'm referring to Exhibit A-1. It says, future development shall provide parking to include the existing Pace Center stalls, 182 spaces, and accommodate future uses under the town's land development ordinance. So translation, the Pace Center's parking spaces of 182 spaces have to remain, and any new uses that go in at this location will have to provide additional parking to support those uses. The term of this listing agreement is 270 days. The agreement does allow for 4 extensions as determined in the town's sole discretion, each extension being a total of 3 months. Obviously, the broker is not doing this for free, so there's broker compensation. And the broker compensation is based upon the amount of the sale, but also considers whether or not it's just the broker or if there's an outside broker. If there's an outside broker, the commission is going to be more. So between the range of $0 and $2 million, it's a 5% broker fee if there's no outside broker. If there's an outside broker, then it's 6%. Between the range of $2 million and $5 million, it's a 4% broker fee if no outside broker. If outside broker, it's 5%. If it's over $5 million, it's a 3% broker fee if no outside broker, but if an outside broker, then it is 4%. There's something unique to this agreement, and that is there's a 1% fee if the agreement is terminated at the convenience of the town. Not only is it a 1% fee, but there also would be any marketing that costs expended by the broker in marketing the property would be recoverable by the broker if the town, in the exercise of its convenience, decided to terminate the agreement. The reason why we have this convenience fee in the agreement is because there has been a threat of an initiative that would be filed to convert Pace Lot 2 and the Pine Curve property to open space. We did receive a citizen's affidavit to start the process, so it's real, and it's something that the broker has to have in order to proceed with this listing agreement. So next steps, if Town Council approves the listing agreement tonight, then the broker will go out, obviously, and market the property and hopefully enter into some purchase and sale agreements. Any purchase and sale agreement is subject to approval by Town Council by ordinance, requires 2 readings, and it will require 4 members of Town Council to approve it on first reading and second reading. In the event there is a purchase and sale, then there's still another step in the process, and that is the entitlement process. And because it is town-owned property, any entitlement process has to come in front of Town Council. So you will see that as a part of a public hearing process. And obviously, if it's an entitlement process through the town, it will go through your land development code process involving your community development department and your public works department. And as you know, that's a very thorough review before it would hit this forum for purposes of your review as a part of a public hearing. The bottom line is the broker is not compensated until a deed is transferred to the town, to the purchaser, and that, again, is when the commission will be paid. Any questions, Mayor, Council?
Thanks, Jim. Council, questions?
No.
No? All right. Sit tight, guys. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public comment at 8.
Want to allow the broker to come up?
Does the broker have anything to add to it? Name and address for the record, please.
Ian Elfner with Nav Point Real Estate Group, address 15750 East Indian Brook Circle in Parker. Just wanted to come up here and let you know we've been down a long road to get to the point where we're at right now. Obviously been paying attention to this, through the duration of the My Main Street project, seeing it get to where it is today. And a lot of hard work and efforts gone into it, not only from our team at Nav Point, but also the people that are directly involved here at the town. So just wanted to say thank you for all their efforts. I think it's been great and good experience working with everybody here. So here we are. We're, ready to get to work and ready to, sell these properties, bring some good quality development to the town of Parker and to these sites, and create additional synergies from what's already in the downtown Main Street corridor already. So that's pretty much all I have to add right now, unless there's any specific questions for us.
Thank you very much, Ian. Council, do you have any questions for Ian?
Appreciate it, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and open it up for public comment at 8:19 p.m. If there's anyone here wishing to address council. Are you flanked by scouts, Terry, or are you just... Name and address for the record, please, and you know the rules. We've got the clock above me, back wall as well, and once after you do your name and address, the clock will start rolling.
Terry Dodd, 11450 Marlboro Drive, Parker. I'm here to ask you to not approve this listing agreement as it is written. As Mr. Maloney has shared with you, we have formed a committee to commence an initiative to modify the zoning on this property and allow that decision to be made by the voters of Parker. When that initiative is successful, the parcels that are involved in this initiative, which are the Pace parcel, which is the land, vacant land by the parking lot of Pace, and Pine Curve parcels, which are 2 parcels there. This petition will not involve the parcels of the old Parker Water or the one next to the school. It's just for Pace and Pine Curve. So those 2 parcels should be taken out of the listing agreement. I've been a real estate broker for 40 years in Colorado, actually longer than that outside of Colorado. I've never seen a listing agreement where a broker got a fee for not selling the property. If those two parcels are removed, then, as Mr. Maloney said, if that indeed was the reason that 1% fee was added to the reimbursement of marketing expenses, then they wouldn't need that 1% fee if that's the case. However, I can tell you that we just filed and formed this committee last week and registered it with the town on Friday, and the listing agreement was created long before that, so I'm not sure how that necessity came about, actually. But brokers live to have their sign on a piece of property. A sign on a commercial piece of property represents business for the brokerage far beyond that particular property or the sale of that property. They get a lot of business off of it. They get prestige, they get other listings, they get buyers that they can sell other things to. So they're accustomed to being compensated only when they sell something and not when they don't. So I object to that in the agreement, period, even on the other pieces of property that we're not seeking to have the voters decide the ultimate use of. I believe I'm a little short of time, and I could go on for 15 more minutes, but that...
You?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Terry, appreciate it. All right, next up. Name and address for the record, please.
I'll bring this way down here. Casey Biggers, 23198 Songbird Hills Way, Parker. Good evening. I am sitting here kind of odd, and not ODD, AWED. The listing agreement was put into effect or drawn up, near as I can figure, at least at the last Planning Commission meeting. Our petition was filed on Friday. So the 1% listing fee was not in response to our petition. The listing fee was in the contract from the get-go. I'm not a realtor, I'm not a broker, I have nothing to do with it. I have spoken to some of the bigger players in Parker, and my concern would be why, if 36 RFPs went out to the big players in Parker, why not one single one of them responded with a proposal to town council or to the town of Parker for this? What's the reason? We got one response, so you just are going to take it. That to me says a lot. I've lived here 13 years. Yes, I'm a transplant. No, I'm not a native, but this town is my heart. The current zoning on the two pieces of property that Terry mentioned, Pine Curve and the Pace Center parking lot, needs to be addressed. We've gone over this time and again. The voters have told, people have spoken here before. They don't want Pine Curve with gas stations and with car washes. They just don't. I would sincerely like to ask you guys to not sign this brokerage agreement tonight, or whatever the case may be, and to move it forward tonight. It concerns me greatly that 1 out of 36 responded, and that some of the bigger players never received that RFP. They only heard about it through social media. So kudos to the town for putting things out on social media, but the fact that only 3 brokers were at the walkthrough of all 5 sites, and the fact that only 1 actually submitted a full, idea on what this would entail should really lead us all to question why that is. So I ask you guys to please don't agree to this tonight. Let's give it some more time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next up. Come on. Name and address for the record, please.
Do that first. Jeff Sams, 19751 East Main Street, R16, and I am here as a board member of the DBA tonight. Good evening, town council members. The Downtown Business Alliance, otherwise known as the DBA, represents 51 downtown small businesses. Most of these businesses are independently owned and operated by Parker citizens. As a quick overview of the DBA in the downtown district, the DBA area has a specific geographic boundary, and to be a member, the business must operate in that boundary. Our primary goal is to enhance the activity of downtown Parker and create a downtown space that residents take pride in and use frequently. Just a few facts. With the exception of the Parker Library and the Pace Center, there has been no new commercial development in downtown Parker for over 10 years. There has been a revival from existing buildings and businesses, but there has been no new buildings or square footage to provide additional offerings for over a decade. Our retail and office space inventory is challenged. There is not enough inventory in our downtown area. Surrounding towns and cities such as Aurora with Southlands Mall, Lone Tree, including Park Meadows, Littleton, and Castle Rock have added hundreds of thousands of square feet, while downtown Parker has added virtually nothing in the last 10 years. We all know the supply and demand theory, and the bottom line is that downtown Parker has no new supply, and that demand is raising rental prices. We are aware of businesses that want to locate in our downtown, and we have no place for them to go. Our DBA, the town of Parker, and the cultural arts have taken so much pride in reviving downtown to a place where our residents want to be. Our population has grown to the extent that we need to provide more offerings and fun spaces to live, work, and play. While the DBA does not intend to weigh in on the specifics of any of the parcels, we do want it known that DBA strongly supports and encourages any new development in downtown Parker that will further enhance the vitality of the area. Thank you for listening to our opinions from the Downtown Business Alliance of Parker.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. All right, next up. Name and address for the record, please.
And I'll lower it even lower. My name is Mike Ruchet. I live at 11425 East Regency Court in Parker. And I, too, would ask you to not approve this vote tonight. It feels a little bit deja vu all over again, at least as it relates to Pine Curve. I'm not quite sure why the town, I've looked over the survey results for the what is it called? My Main Street. And I was very interested in, to go back, there was a Medicare for All survey done by Kaiser News or reported by Kaiser News. And 70% supported Medicare for All or didn't. 70% didn't support Medicare for All, depending on how the questions were asked. My Main Street survey, as far as I can tell, really didn't give the open space the priority, equal priority to development, commercial development in Pine Curve. And I think that is problematic in that you're not necessarily hearing what people want. In individual comments, there were lots of comments about open space and parks. But nothing really allowed them to express it. You'd hear our designs. We'd like you to approve them. We'd like you, which one do you prefer? Well, where's the open space option there? I am concerned about traffic on Pine. It's going to develop further down Pine in the county area and the new town areas. And that is a quick way around downtown Parker for everyone who lives east of town. And I think traffic is problematic and an issue that ought to be taken into consideration. Quality of life here in Parker. Honestly, Parker is a very nice place to live, and one of the reasons is because of the open space and trails. If you take away that and you don't enhance it, I think you end up with something that's rather like every other suburb. We have no big employment areas that are going to be attracted or that have been attracted here. We have nothing here except residential and some shopping. Please keep the development on Parker Road, enhance the downtown certainly, but don't throw away these wonderful open spaces, especially Pine Curve. And 20 years from now, it'll be a jewel or it'll be another development, and it's you all who get to decide that. So I would ask you not to put this out for sale tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment at 8:31 PM. Before we go on, there was a couple questions that were asked. Jim, would you mind, Mr. Maloney, would you mind addressing the question about the 1% fee?
So the 1% fee was added because Councilmember Pogue and Councilmember Toberg advised the town that there may be an initiative if the town kept those two properties into the listing agreement. So based upon that, we worked with the broker, put in the 1%. At the time, we didn't know if it was going to come to fruition. And then Friday afternoon, we received the committee affidavit. We provided a copy of that to the broker through real estate counsel that I retained, Terry Gorell. And then we received confirmation today that they would not proceed with the listing agreement if the 1% convenience fee was taken out.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right, so with that, council, discussion on this?
I do have a couple of questions on, out of the 36 proposals, most of those properties are very viable properties. Why do you only get a limited number of responses like this? What was the issue?
So I can only make an assumption as to why we didn't receive more. But I would say in the conversations that we've had with a few were in respect to meeting the town's expectations as we were establishing criteria, or the My Main Street strategic framework as it related to the town's expectations on community feedback and being able to have a clientele that could actually meet that. So that was a key indicator in some of the feedback that we had received. I would say that given that we're still going through a process, we probably won't have a true ability to debrief any and all that we've reached out to because we don't want to mess up the process that we're currently undergoing. But for those who provided unsolicited feedback, that was the big thing, is that we just can't meet what the town is looking for, or we do not have that clientele base to meet that expectation.
Okay. Other questions, Michelle?
I think primarily, I think it makes sense. If the town proceeds with this contract and the citizen initiative passes, the town is literally giving away approximately $97,000. That's a lot of money to give away on an unusual 1% fee on a pending issue of a sale or no sale. It just seems strange.
Okay.
And that's a comment that I have on it.
Okay, Jeff, did you?
So Ian, it's Ian, right? I have a question for you. Were you in fact asked if you would proceed without the 1%?
Yeah, just tonight.
So I just want to go on record. I am in full support of preserving the Pine Curve and the lots in front of our $40 million Pace Center, which is a jewel. I am in full support of selling the others. So to the DBA, I thank you for your support. I support you. I support commercial business in here, but I don't support this other piece, and especially throwing away $96,000.
John.
Yeah, so it seems like Pine Curve is always, I think we inherited it, us people who've been here for 6 years or longer, a little longer. It's always been a point of contention. You know, to me, I asked my options because on one side you had people who want to preserve open space, and that's kind of what we're hearing again tonight. The other option that we had was we can just define it as surplus property and sell it. Is that a correct statement, Jim?
Correct.
So, knowing the extremes, we tried to figure out a solution. If something's going to happen, how can we work together? And that's how we got to the My Main Street project. So we could have just put up a shingle, found a real estate person and sold it. Didn't care about what it was, but we wanted thoughtful development. We wanted to listen. We wanted responses. We wanted people who provided input, and I think we've gotten that. So with that, you know, I know there's always going to be people who want open space. To me, I just don't know how, if we keep on doing open space, or if we don't have a thoughtful plan, and we do, We have a Parks and Rec CIP, which is $100 million. To put something else on and to burden them with an ongoing, albeit probably not as great as other ventures, to me would be challenging. Plus, to get $5 million for a piece of property and to see development, that's kind of compelling to me. So, I mean, with that, I think we've done our due diligence. I think we've heard from people. I think we've worked with people in the community. And I know there's always going to be people who want us to do something different. But again, we work long and hard about this, and I will support this.
Okay. Other questions?
I want to
Josh,
make
or-
another comment.
Okay, before we do that, can everyone get a chance to do their turn before you go on? Josh?
Just a clarification, I guess, a question for Jim. The 1% is tied 1% of each individual listing, correct? So it's not a lump sum of one parcel goes down and we pay them and they go away. It's tied to each listing if the town itself decides not to list that property anymore.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, with that, no, I have no more questions.
Okay, questions? Okay, Cheryl, your follow-up comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on the Main Street survey. And looking at some of the details on that, there were up to a couple thousand people that maybe had contact with some, discussion group or presentation at one point in time, but only about 700 people actually responded to the survey. And so when you're trying to base a property decision on a survey that only had 700 respondents, or approximately 700, that's pretty small when you got a population of over 50,000. So I question the validity there of that, the process that we're undergoing. If you look at the survey responses, it shows 20%, 30%, whatever, but if you look at the detail in the actual numbers, it's really low.
Okay, other statements? With that, I would entertain a motion, please.
I move to approve the listing agreement with Nav Point Real Estate Group, LLC.
Second.
We have a motion by Josh and a second by Renee. In just a few moments, your favorite box will appear. Or maybe not. There's the box. And we
Mine
wait.
is not coming up fully. It's not activating. Should work on the button.
Did everyone? And motion passes 4-2 with 2 noes from Cheryl Pogue and Jeff Toborg. Next item on our agenda is item 9A. This is ordinance number 9.184.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance to approve the First Amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement for Disaster Emergency Mutual Aid and Disaster Emergency Resources Assistance by and between the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Douglas, State of Colorado, and the Town of Castle Rock, the Towns of Parker, the City of Lone Tree, the City of Castle Pines, the Town of Larkspur, the Douglas County School District, the Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District, the Douglas County Public Library District, and the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Commander Coleman, looking very Colorado today.
Thanks, Mayor.
Yes. Rock and
Hi,
roll.
Town
You get the lead us tonight.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just for the record, I'm Andrew Coleman. I am a police commander and also the emergency manager for the town of Parker. So I'm here today with the second reading. This is an IGA that was developed back in 2011. What this IGA is doing, we're just looking to update it and make it more effective. We have, like the mayor just announced, all these different communities working together before there was a specific board, and it wasn't very effective. So with this new change, what we are looking to do is getting more people involved to help with our decisions that we're making when it comes to emergency management. That's it pretty much summed up. It is a board. It's the EMCG board. It's the Emergency Management Coordination Group. And it's going to allow more people in there to make more effective decisions. Overall, when it comes to us in the town of Parker, There will be no cost in any of these changes, and in the event of a disaster or emergency mutual aid response or a disaster emergency resource assistance request, all expenses will be reimbursed through FEMA. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you very much, Commander. Council, any questions for Commander?
Just kudos again to the cooperation that happens in this county. I think it's outstanding. This is just a great show of how everybody comes together again to benefit the citizens. I appreciate the time you guys have put into this, and I think it's great to have a board finally, a formalness to it, if you will.
Perfect.
Okay, other questions? Cheryl?
I had a question, comment. I want to thank you and the police department for working with the county on this. I know that their prior attempts to kind of separate the incident command and the EOC group and put a special group in charge of EOC didn't work. And that was a reason for this proposal. So I'm really glad to see this proposal coming forward. Thank you.
Well, and I think overall it'll definitely help.
Yeah.
And we just experienced that last week. You know, everybody came together and really worked together. We had over 190,000 people without power in Douglas and Elbert and El Paso County. Douglas County had over 400 people in shelters. So we all really came together and it worked, and it was very effective.
Good. Okay, other questions, comments? No? Then we've got to open it up for public comment at 8:43 p.m. if there's anyone wishing to address council on this item. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:43, and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
That's okay, I'll do it.
Cheryl's going to do it.
I'll move to approve ordinance number 9.184.1 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion from Cheryl and a second from Renee. Council, please vote when that box pops up. And while we're waiting for that box to pop up, everyone in the audience, you just got to witness Cheryl Polk's first motion on anything.
EOC,
So
yes.
It's very apropos.
So there you go. That's like, is it like signing your home run ball? Do you get to get, Not that I ever hit a home run when I was playing. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is item 9B. This is ordinance number 3.25.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance amending ordinance number 3.25 by the deletion of certain property from the planned development zoned area known as the Country Meadows Planned Development. Stacy, you're gonna rock and roll this one again.
Yes, thank you again. All right, so the intent of tonight's application is to amend the Country Meadows Plan Development to remove the commercial area from the Plan Development designation. So the property is located at the northwest corner of Parker Road and Hess Road. The intent of this ordinance is to clean up the Country Meadows Plan Development zoning by removing the commercial area from the plan development. The commercial lots within the Country Meadows Plan Development were rezoned to commercial in April 2018. In April 2018, the property owners requested a rezoning to bring the uses allowed on the property up to date. The rezoning aligned the uses permitted by zoning with the Parker 2035 Master Plan's vision for a neighborhood center. The Country Meadows Plan Development still exists for the residential areas surrounding the commercial lots, but a zoning map change was processed and approved for the commercial lots. The proposed ordinance to remove the commercial lots from the Country Meadows Plan Development is not required, but creates documentation that the plan development zoning no longer applies to the commercial properties. The Planning Commission heard this request on February 28, 2019, and recommended unanimous approval. So based on all this information, staff recommends approval of ordinance 3.25.1. This concludes the staff presentation, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Council, questions for Stacy?
Stacy, you want to go into a little bit of layman's terms for me to explain what it is we're doing so the public
Yes, so
understands?
what it is this property was zoned in the Country Meadows Plan Development. It was zoned in 1983, I believe, when that property was annexed and zoned. And so the zoning on the property was commercial. It's always been commercial. It's located in a neighborhood center for the master plan. But the uses identified in that Country Meadows Plan Development were a little bit out of date. And as commercial areas have developed and the uses have changed over time, it just didn't meet it. And so back in April 2018, we processed a request to rezone it from plan development to standard zonings, commercial zoning within the town of Parker. So we took it out of the plan development, brought it in to conformance with just the town commercial standards. And then recently it was brought to our attention that it is kind of confusing because the Country Meadows plan development still shows this property. And so this is really just a cleanup measure to remove it. So this will now officially be, if it was approved, would remove it from the Country Meadows plan development to just be C commercial.
So for example, back then when it was originally zoned, there were such things as photomats, and breweries were only in Golden. And now there's no photomats and there's breweries every corner.
in Golden.
Blockbuster 2.
Correct.
And Blockbuster.
Perfect, thank you.
Snow go-rounds and things like that, so, okay.
So
Other questions?
none of the current businesses will be impacted by this change. There's no detrimental or,
Correct. So when we worked on the zoning for the property, we made sure that all of the existing uses that are out there would still be permitted, and then just brought it up to date. You're correct.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, we'll open it up for public comment at 8:47 PM. I think the scout with the hiccup should come up and give public comment. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, seeing none, we're going to close public comment at 8:47, and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 3.25.1 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by by John, and a second by Renee. Hey, council, why don't you watch for that box? Here it comes. Oh, John's is up already. Look at that, it's coming along. And motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item 9C. This is ordinance number 1.512.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance approving the First Amendment to easement agreement to Parker Water and Sanitation District Tract D, Riata West filing number 1, to correct the plat reference to Tract B, Riata West filing number 1, Second Amendment. Alex, beard's looking nice.
Thank you.
Rock and roll.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. This item proposes to amend a water line easement agreement that was granted by the town of Parker to Parker Water and Sanitation District back in May of 2018. The amendment is necessary to correct an error in the agreement's legal description that describes the easement area. Just to review the original easement, the Riata West development is located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Parker Road and Stroh Road. The subject property, which is Tract B, is located south of the area for development and north of the 40-acre town-owned property located south of Kinney Creek. Tract B encompasses Kinney Creek and was dedicated to the town as open space by the Riata West developer to satisfy a condition of the annexation agreement for that property. In 2018, the Town Council approved the dedication of waterline easements to Parker Water and Sand across both Tract B and the 40-acre town-owned property to accommodate the construction of a regional water line. This water line will be installed from an existing water main under Stroh Road, south through the town to the Cielo development, which is located in unincorporated Douglas County. The Cielo developer is required to build this infrastructure to provide water service to that property. This water line will also serve a regional purpose, as it will eventually connect to the Pinery Water and Sanitation District system to tie them into the larger regional system and allow them to utilize water from the Wise pipeline. This infrastructure is being constructed at no cost to either the town or to Parker Water. The proposed alignment for this water line is shown on this slide in blue for your information. Late in 2018, after the easements had been dedicated, an error was discovered in the legal description that the developer had provided for the water line easement over Tract B. The description incorrectly used parcel boundaries from the previous plat on the property rather than the most recent plat that had been recorded. This easement amendment proposes to replace a legal description with a corrected version. This results in a slight reduction in the easement area being granted due to the revised parcel boundaries in the new plat. No other changes to the easement agreement are proposed with this amendment. Staff does recommend approval of this ordinance, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on this.
Thank you very much, Alex. Council? Questions? None? All right, we'll open it up for public comment at 8:50 PM if there's anyone wishing to address council. I don't know, water easements, pretty cool stuff.
Very exciting.
All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:50 PM, and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.512.1 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Josh and a second by Renee. Hey, council, why don't you vote when that little box pops up? Motion passes unanimously. With no further business before council, we will adjourn at 8:51 PM. But hey, guess what? You come for one meeting,